So last week I posted my short film, Create Without Limitations. And in that short film I had quite a few little transitions. I'm not a transition-y geezer, but you lot hounded me on Instagram to make a tutorial on how I done this specific transition where I threw my storyboard up into the air, paper flew everywhere, and then we transitioned into our second scene. It's actually a really simple transition, so I'm going to break it down for you today. However, I'm not a transition guru geezer. I just leave it to all the bloody kings like Ben TK, JRL and Calder and all them, because yeah, I don't really do transitions that much, but this transition and all of the transitions that I've done in this film actually aided my story. For example, in that shot there where I throw the paper up in the air, the paper, if you've seen the film, I'll leave it linked in the description, the paper is actually a storyboard. The storyboard actually then throws us into the scene. So I throw the storyboard up in the air, and as the audience, we are taken and sucked into this storyboard, into the next scene on that storyboard. So it made sense for the story, and that's why I decided to do it. No more messing about, let's get stuck in on this tutorial. Bosh. What's going on, you lot? I hope you're all sweet. Yeah, man, I'm going to do this tutorial on Premiere Pro. However, you can do the exact same technique on Final Cut, on Resolve. It's the exact same thing. It's bare easy. So we've got 3 shots in this transition. We've got our very first shot, which is this scene right here, and then the second scene. Literally, look at that, hard cut, yeah? Nothing very fun or incredible about that. But we need a third shot to glue together this transition, this scene. That third shot is me simply dropping some paper in the air. Yeah, really nothing that interesting. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab that shot. We're then going to put it on top of our 2 shots to glue them together. But obviously, we know doesn't look bloody great. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to click on that shot. We're going to go over to opacity and we're going to select screen. Now, I really recommend you obviously drop in paper or whatever you're going to be using in the kind of way that actually fits the scene. You're going to have to look at the scene and think, right, how are we going to have to drop this? What camera angle are we going to be able to use? What focal length? Because obviously you don't want it super distorted if it's a tight shot, that kind of thing. So if you can, try and make your background really dark. I wouldn't recommend using a green screen for this one because the paper's moving so fast. You're going to have motion blur and the paper's going to be a bit green in areas. So just use a dark background if you can. Try and only light the paper. That's how it's going to work out best. So as you can see, now that we've changed our opacity mode to screen, it's starting to look a bit better. We're on the right lines, you know, but still it doesn't quite look how we want it to look. We can still see a bit of my leg and a bit of the background. So what I'm going to do, go effects, and I'm going to get our luma key, stick that on our image, and obviously now all of that background's gone. However, we've definitely lost a little bit of detail in our paper. So I'm going to take that luma key, and the threshold is probably going to be, let's go with 33%. That looks pretty good. But obviously we can still see my leg in here, you know, so we haven't completely taken out all of the image that we want to get rid of. So we're going to go over to our opacity and we're literally just going to key out my leg. Now you will have to just keyframe through that to make sure that you completely miss the leg, and obviously we're going to invert that so that we only see the outside of it. So let's get a key on that. Boom. Okay, so now we're starting to lose it. So if we go back one there, next frame, cool, bang, next frame, cool, bang, bang, bang. Let's get a key on that. Next one, bang, out. Next frame, yep, let's lose that. Next frame, so that we're keeping it nice and clean and we don't get any of my leg in the shot. There we go. That's pretty damn good, actually. I think we've caught that. Nice. So there we go. So now we've lost the leg in that shot. So as you can see, we jump through nice and clean. So next thing we need to do, if you look at the second shot, the camera is pushing in. So therefore, this paper, if it was actually in the scene, we'd have to kind of push through the paper. So we're going to have to add a bit of a scale up in this shot. So let's go here. We're going to stick our scale. Oh, just got a new order. Someone's just ordered a Create t-shirt. Bosh. Henry. My man Henry, I'll package that up for you in a second. How random that happened. So here we go. So we're going to jump through. Boom. So now we need to increase our scale. So as we come to the end of the frame, I want that scale to be much bigger. So let's do Let's take it to 200 and 220. That's still quite a big one. But I'm actually going to ramp it in. So if I ramp that up, as we come forwards, the paper looks like now it is actually moving towards the camera a bit. See that? It's not as good as I could make it. So let me see if I can, I want to ramp that forward even sooner. So let's see that. That's quite a hefty... So yeah, look, now that looks like the paper's actually coming towards the camera. The camera's pushing through. So next up, we actually need to make the paper look like it actually fits in the scene, because the paper fits in the scene in the first one. That doesn't look too bad. Could do with a little bit of colour grading. But when we move into the second scene, that paper to me just looks a bit digital, don't it? It don't quite look right. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to actually colour grade this paper to make it actually fit into the scene. So let's jump in and grab a Lumetri colour grade. Issue is, people, here, if we start grading this is going to cause us some issues on our luma key and also our opacity blend mode. So what we're going to have to do, if we unselect all of our other shots so that we only see the paper falling, what we're then going to do is we're going to export this paper falling. So we're going to select our format as QuickTime. Our preset is going to be Apple ProRes 422HQ. Then we're going to go down into the video codec settings and we're going to change this to animation at the top. We're then going to scroll down in our settings and our depth is going to be 8-bit plus alpha. Then we're going to just export that piece. We're then going to import that file onto our project and we are going to bring it into the file. So now we're using this new alpha clip instead of our original clip, because now when we actually open up these extra shots, we can now grade this file without it kind of losing transparency and all that kind of stuff. I didn't even realize you can actually see over here part of the storyboard. That looks pretty cool. However, on this shot, you are going to see that we're going to get a little bit of fringing, but we're going to sort that out after. So we're going to go effects. We're going to grab our Lumetri color, and then we are going to color grade this shot to the point where we think it fits in the scene. Obviously, it's a bit of a dark, moody scene that's quite flat. So for me, that looks a lot more natural already. Obviously, we've got a little bit of cleaning up to do up here, but that's no problem. We can do that in our mask tool in opacity. We'll just give it a little bit of a clean up. So once we've got the right grade, we are also going to have to add on a directional blur just to make sure that it actually blurs in the right direction and looks as natural as possible. So yeah, we actually do want the blur to be at 0 degrees so that it goes downwards. And as you can see there, boom, that looks pretty damn good. Obviously, it needs a little bit of tinkering. By the time you've tinkered it up, made it look good, stuck a decent little grade on it, wow, that thing just flows, man, and looks so damn nice. We're then going to stick some sprinkles on top, and you know what that is, mate. Sound design. So we're going to chuck a little bit of sound design on there, and bam. Wow. Looks so sick, mate. I'm really, really happy with that transition. I haven't seen it done before, and yeah, man, I just thought it'd work really nicely for this piece. Anyway, people, I hope you enjoyed that little tutorial, and I hope that you can find ways to actually implement that technique into some of your films that actually make sense for your story. Don't just do transitions for the sake of it. I think you can actually use them in really creative ways that aid your story and help you develop your idea the way that you want it to. Anyway, so thanks so much for watching, people. Whoa, there's a fly in here. We don't need you in here, mate. What are you doing? I'll actually knock you out. Let me know in the comments if you want to see one of the other transitions that I've done in that film, because I'll happily break them down again. It's actually quite fun. I've not really done one of these transition tutorials before, so yeah, let me know. And I'll be catching you lot in the next one, mate. Bosh!